Pop Culture Pastor.
It's been a while since I've been here. What's up? How's it going, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been hanging out in the dark studio the past 2 weeks.
He's just been sitting here with the lights off, waiting for me to come back. I've been gone. So I had youth camp, summer camp, that I went with the Utes. And then last week was dance nationals. My girls went to go be a part of dance nationals, which is quite the experience. I don't know if I've really formulated all my thoughts yet on that, but they're coming.
So there are two people from Dance Moms, or two kids, I should say, from the TV show Dance Moms that people remember and recognize still today. So the first one, and probably the most famous of the two, is JoJo.
Yeah. We've talked about JoJo.
We have talked about JoJo and her beef with Candace Cameron Bure.
Yeah.
So, like, my mind instantly goes there, and it's usually not the most happy of places when I hear Dance Moms. But then I think about Maddie. I think her last name's Ziegler. She's the girl that dances in all the Sia music videos.
Okay.
And I mean, now they're both grown-ups, but she seems to be doing okay for herself. So, and no beefs with Candace Cameron Bure.
My kids have taken, especially my girls, have taken to watching Dance Moms. So they're making their way through, they're binging it.
Eek!
And they love it. They love it. But they also recognize that the people are crazy. Like that's what makes me happy is they're watching it for entertainment value, but also at the same time going, how can real people be like this? And when I think about JoJo and how we've talked about her and her beef with Candace Cameron Bure, I'm watching Dance Moms with them, just kind of randomly part of an episode. Well, I wasn't sitting there watching all of them with them because I just can't do it. But it makes sense that to stay relevant, they would keep having beef with people because that's what that show is.
Yeah.
The entire show of Dance Moms, from what I can tell, is just we have beef. It's drama all the time. And that's why it makes a good TV show. That's exactly why I wouldn't want my kids dancing for whoever that is leading that dance company. And why sometimes I get nervous about, just being around the dance in particular, because Nationals is a big event. There's a ton of people there, and oof. Did I see some bad behavior? Yes, I did. Did I see a girl yoch on stage at the end of her performance while they were doing the in pose? Yes, I did. And it was amazing. That dance got a good score, by the way. Like, she powered through. Like, she made it almost to the end of the song and then was doing in the final pose. They were getting ready to freeze in the final pose and just black. Oh, it was amazing. It was but also amazing. I texted my wife. It was like best dance competition ever. It was amazing. My daughter thought I was making fun of the girl. And I was like, no, she's a star. Like that dance got good scores too. Like they actually got an award at the end. Like they were in the top 10 of whatever category they were in. I was just like, that's amazing.
Oh.
Dancers, don't ever let someone tell you that you're not an athlete.
Yeah.
Because that was I've seen basketball players, run off the court and barf into a trash can.
And then hustle back on defense.
Get back into that pirouette, dancer. You go yoch off stage and then come right back. Anyways. So yeah, I spent the whole week at dance competitions. We did get a little lake time, which was nice. And now I'm back. And I'm committed, Cody. I'm back and committed. You ready for this?
Yes.
Now I'm not going anywhere. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Okay.
Also, this is Pop Culture Pastor. Welcome. We're so glad you're here after all that. If you're still here, get ready for some great music. So maybe I'm just in a game show state of mind.
As we all are.
Because I want to talk about another game show. We just talked about The Price is Right. Now we're going to talk about another game show.
Cash Cab.
As much as Cash Cab. Supermarket Sweep. What are some of the most inane game shows you can remember? For me, it's always Supermarket Sweep.
Oh, I love Supermarket Sweep.
I had a younger stepsister who just loved Supermarket Sweep. I'm like, why are you watching this?
It was fun. I guess you could only get 5, a limit of, like you can get as many items, but you can only get 5 of the same type of items.
Yeah.
Because initially my strategy would just be, I'm going up and down the aisles with my arms and raking it all in the cart.
Yeah, that's not going to work on
It's
Supermarket
not going
Sweep.
to. So you got to go for the giant hams and turkeys. You got to find the inflatables. And then don't waste your time with the coffee beans. It takes too long.
Yeah.
So you got to know where you're going in that store.
Well, and I think, didn't the winners get to keep their groceries?
I think so. And the money.
I will say it has a lot more appeal to me now that I have 4 kids.
Get all the giant hams.
I wouldn't even try to win the game. I would just get all the stuff I knew we need. The stuff we
Bacon.
use. Like, how much toilet paper can I fit into this cart? All the toilet paper. Where does it go? Well, don't answer that. I know where it goes. But yeah, Supermarket Sweep was one of those inane game shows. I loved Press Your Luck.
Whammy. No whammies.
Yeah, I only liked it when people got whammied. That was my favorite part. The Pyramid was always good for some comedy.
Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, Hollywood Squares was a fun game show. Also good for comedy because they let them riff.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Valanche, who I didn't know why Bruce was like on there. He would make some funny comments.
Like some of those people that were just constantly on Hollywood Squares, you were just like, I don't even know what they do. I think they're just professional Hollywood Squares participants.
That's what I assume.
And Bruce Valanche was one of them. Like he just on Hollywood Squares.
Whoopi was on there a lot.
Do you remember Joker's Wild? Like, which was basically just like a game of high-low.
Oh, no.
There was those games. I mean, that was like the magic era of game shows.
There's still the Game Show Network where you can rewatch some of the old ones and new ones that they make. I kind of liked rewatching old episodes of The Feud.
Oh, Family Feud, always fun and awkward.
Richard Dawson was always kissing people, and I'm like, knock that off, Rich.
Richard.
You
we
snake.
gotta watch Richard. Yeah. But there was another game show that my parents liked that was even more awkward. That was the Newlywed Show.
Oh, yeah.
I always wondered how many marriages did the Newlywed Show end? How many marriages broke up because of the Newlywed Show? Because inevitably there'd always be like so it was always 3 couples, and you're trying to guess what your significant other's answers would be.
Yes.
And there would always be 2 that were really good, and then the third couple would be like, "What? You answered that? What do you don't even like that?" Like, and I always felt a lot of empathy for that couple because I always wondered, oh man, did their marriage end on the Newlywed Show?
It's like that episode of Parks and Rec where they play Do You Know Your Boo?
Yeah, which is basically a riff on the Newlywed Show.
Yes, and Andy and April did not know each other.
And the Newlywed Show is part of the public consciousness because it gets made fun of a lot.
It does.
And for good reason, because it really was that awkward sometimes. However, I'm only bringing these games up because I'm going to tell you what my favorite game show is of all time. And the one I'm personally the best at. So you ready? So my favorite game show of all time is Jeopardy.
Oh, I do enjoy a good game of Jeopardy.
This is Jeopardy. Starring Alex Trebek. I have 2 Alex Trebek Funko Pops.
Because one's not enough.
No, absolutely not. I need all the Alex Trebek Funko Pops. Rest in peace, Alex.
Yes.
By the way, you can get two versions of the same pop. One is the regular standard version of Alex, where he looks just like Alex. And then there's the Chase version, which is more rare, where he doesn't have his mustache.
Oh, clean shaven.
Yeah. Every once in a while, Alex would shave the mustache, and we're like, ooh, put that back on, Alex. But Jeopardy is my favorite game show. I used to, when I was growing up, me and my mom would compete while watching it. We'd like try to keep track of our scores. She would cheat. I would always win because she cheated.
Yes.
Just know that I'm telling the truth. That's how it played out. But I would have won anyways.
So I think my favorite game shows are like game shows that were on Nickelodeon in the 90s.
Yes. Double Dare. Do you remember Double Dare?
I do remember Double Dare. I think Legends of the Hidden Temple is number one.
Yeah.
But then Guts, where they like had to do like Olympic Games and
I remember
then climb the mountain and get the Astro Crag.
It was sort of the kid version of American Gladiators.
It was.
Which American Gladiators, another favorite game show of mine.
American Gladiators, they're releasing a documentary about it.
Oh, that's a must watch, by the way.
That is.
That might be a What's Up doc.
Figure It Out was also a fun one because the contestant or the panel of Nick celebrities would get slimed randomly. And like Nickelodeon was all about the slime in the 90s.
Yeah. You kind of hit just the very tail end of the golden age of game shows. I grew up in the golden age of game shows because I rattled off a whole bunch of them in the last segment, especially during the 80s, that just were all over the place. But Jeopardy was my favorite. It was syndicated like Wheel of Fortune, so it was on every day.
All the time.
And boy, when TiVo came out, that was even better because I'd still go over to my mom's occasionally and she'd have all these Jeopardies TiVo'd and I would compete with her. And then when I started having kids, I would make my oldest watch it with me and I would destroy her at Jeopardy because she was like 5. But she learned a lot. Anyways, Jeopardy was my favorite. I've actually tried out for Jeopardy several times. The way Jeopardy works is you sign up for it and then you get an email link and it's an online test. And it's like a timed test. You have so long to answer. It's like ridiculous amount of questions, maybe even 100. I can't remember. A lot of the times people don't make it through the test.
Oh,
you just try to get through as many of them as you can and answer them right. And I've actually made it. I've actually qualified for Jeopardy several times, but then it's random. Then you just get randomly selected of the people who qualified through that test.
Oh, Dave can meet Blossom.
So I haven't tried out in a long time. I haven't done those tests in a long time. So I kind of gave up on it.
Dave's not going to meet Blossom.
My brain doesn't work as well now, especially after I got COVID.
But okay, that is sad. But
it is.
Between the two new hosts, are you wanting to meet Blossom or are you wanting to meet Ken Jennings?
Oh, I'm going Blossom. Ken just seems not nice.
Pretentious.
Yeah, he's sort of pretentious. It's his shtick. He's probably not really like that. Yeah, he is. I don't. Of course, I'd rather meet Blossom.
Whoa.
Deep cut. Deep cut. But yeah, my brain doesn't work as well. I used to be a trivia master. I actually, if you been around Chanute long enough and remember the Wednesday night trivia nights at
Pub Stumpers.
Pub Stumpers. For a while there, before I knew anybody, I would go down there because everyone had teams.
Yes.
I would go down there as one person and I would be my own team and I named it Wolf Pack of One.
I vaguely do remember this because little did Dave know, Cody is there with random guys who were dead weight.
Yeah. And so I never won because there were so many different kinds of categories that paid to have a team.
There was one team I was a part of that we did win like 3 or 4 times, but we were only a team like maybe 6 times. Mm-hmm. And it was 2 college professors from NCCC and myself. And like when I would contribute, it would be like random off the wall, but the other 2 would like say the ones that were very obvious very quickly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. I knew that answer. That's Cody was that guy.
Yes.
I knew it. I just didn't want to say it before you said it.
I couldn't say it fast enough.
That's why you watch Jeopardy, you get a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch it competitively with someone else, you're trying to yell out the answer before it. And I'll be like, you didn't put in the frame of a question. You didn't say, what is Lake Tahoe?
What is Double Jeopardy?
It's Double Jeopardy. By the way, why don't we have a game show to host? Why don't we have more hosting gigs in general? This is weirdly off topic, but you could do far worse than having us MC your event.
If you have a bar mitzvah coming up.
I've noticed this a lot recently because we were at the Dance Nationals thing. I was at youth camp the week before where, that doesn't count as much because they're just trying to fill spaces. Someone had to be the MC, but I'm just like, man, people need MCing help. And we're just sitting here being like, hey, this is what we do. We get up and we fill time and we keep the show moving. This is what we do. And nobody's utilizing us.
Their loss.
So Hollywood, if you got a game show you need some hosts for, give us a call, man. We got this. Also, any local events around, we'll MC your event. Just, send us a message here at on Pop Culture Pastor Facebook page.
We also are open to donations.
Oh, yeah. Also donations. And we preach sermons, too, if you're into that whole thing.
Oh, and I got a few.
Yeah. Okay. The reason I brought up Jeopardy was because Jeopardy made headlines last week, or one of the last couple weeks when I was gone. And I wanted to talk about it with you, Cody, specifically. The June 13th episode of Jeopardy. Did you happen to catch that one?
I did not.
You didn't.
I was probably working.
5-day champion Suresh Krishnan was defending his $54,000 total winnings against a nonprofit fundraiser, Laura Scanlon, and graduate student Joe Siebert. It's a tough competition.
That is. I'm rooting for the nonprofit lady.
It was an interesting episode as people on game show social media, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Pointed out that there were a lot of triple stumpers. Do you know what a triple stumper is?
No.
A triple stumper is when they do the question, and for people of this caliber of the game, like this guy's a returning champion 5-time, where he does the, Miam Bialik, who was hosting this episode, Blossom. She reads out the clue, and then there's just silence, and then,
oh, yeah.
Those where nobody answers.
So usually these tend to be like, so if it's like a very highly educated crowd, this tends to be like the ones that like, oh, what professional basketball team plays in Atlanta?
Usually sports and pop culture gets
Yes.
the really highly educated folks, right? Because they've been learning stuff. They don't have time for pop culture or sports.
Is it the Atlanta Bears? Who is the Atlanta Bears?
But apparently there were a lot of triple stumpers, as the Jeopardy holics call it, in this game with these very good players. One of them I felt like I needed to tell you about.
Okay.
Because this is amazing. Mayim Bialik, the host, Blossom,
Yes.
as we lovingly call her, she read this clue. You ready for this?
Okay.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 says, Our Father, which art in heaven, this be thy name. All of them stumped.
Hallowed?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. You
What
did not put that in the
is-
form of a question?
What is hallowed?
What is hallowed? Yes, is, of course, the correct answer. And as you might imagine, this caused a giant uproar on this game show's social medias, on Twitter, with users having some thoughts. What are your thoughts? Like, first of all, it's hallowed, heathens. Like, read your Bible.
So I will say, as someone that came to the faith probably in like 7th grade, I did not know the Lord's Prayer before. I might have gone well into my adult years not knowing it. So I'll give him a pass. But like not a single one. That's the peculiar thing. Like I would have thought 1 out of the 3 would have got it.
Yeah, to have all 3 of them. Like, listen, you don't have to be a Christian to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
That's like if you've taken any humanities courses in college or anything, you would have been exposed to some parts of the Bible and especially the Lord's Prayer.
And I mean, it is in like pop culture shows and stuff, but
yeah. Apparently this was just a bad game because they were missing a lot. And so social media was kind of going crazy. And the guy who was the returning champion, he ended up winning.
boo!
When he got this, the answer to this clue correctly. This was Final Jeopardy. Let's just play a little Final Jeopardy for us.
Okay.
For you. Ready? The category was actors.
Okay.
He starred in the 2 films whose soundtracks were the top 2 best-selling albums of 1978. Do 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 do. I'm not gonna sing the whole song.
What is John Travolta?
You got it right.
Or who is John Travolta?
You would have won Final Jeopardy.
I'm back.
Wow! Look at you. Look at you coming with the pop culture knowledge.
I was trying to think who in God's green earth was big in 1978.
Yeah, and once it's a soundtrack,
Yeah.
you think disco.
Johnny T.
John Travolta.
Be cool.
And of course, I wasn't the other one Grease? Would
Yeah.
that have been the other one?
So, yeah.
There you go. Good stuff right there. Way to go, Cody.
Yeah.
Shining on that pop culture knowledge.
Again, star of Be Cool, John Travolta.
Yeah, that's
the second or third time I've mentioned
I think
that.
you meant star of Look Who's Talking Too. Okay, Danielle, I have a question for you.
Hit me with it.
What does it mean when your dog wags its tail? I know we don't have a dog, but let's just pretend that you have a dog. You come home, you open the door, the dog is there, and he or she is wagging its tail.
It means he or she loves me very much, and they're so glad that I'm home. And I want a puppy.
Doesn't that feel like it's a little self-serving?
Give me a puppy.
It seems self-important. I mean, I know humans, we do that. Like we do that thing where it's about like, well, let me tell you what it means. And what you mean to say is what it means to me.
It means they're happy.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
You think it means they're happy.
Yes.
I was reading an article where maybe that's not
That's bogus article.
always. Not always. She says, so Dr. Camille Alexander, a veterinarian with New York City's Bond Vet. I don't even, is that important? Is that supposed to mean something? I don't know.
Bond vet? I don't know what that is.
But she says that when a dog wags its tail, it's not always just that one happy emotion. It could mean a wide range of emotions, much like a facial expression, she says. Facial expressions can mean a wide variety of emotions. So apparently...
So do we have to evaluate exactly how the dog is wagging its tail?
It's all about more evaluation, Danielle. How the
Let me
dog
look
is
into
wagging
this
its
tail
tail,
wagging
what
a little
direction it's
closer.
going, how the
How
dog
fast it's going.
how the dog wants to refer to its tail. I mean, all of the stuff.
All right.
So I'm just telling you, this is a thing, and I don't know. No, I'm joking around, but she's going to tell us why dogs wag their tails. Isn't that like dog-splaining? Oh, she's going to dog-splain us. Well, actually, what it means when they're wagging their tail, Dave.
I feel like in order for it to actually be dog-splaining, it has to be the dog explaining it. Right?
You get home and they're like, well, actually, Danielle, I'm not happy to see you. I actually really have to go to the bathroom.
That would be dog-splaining.
And I need you to open the door immediately. All right. No, we'll let the dog expert tell us. So Dr. Camille Alexander, she did not take 6 years of animal doctor school to be called Camille. All right. She's Dr. Camille. Oh, it's Camille Allander. I was reading her name wrong too. There's not an X in there. That's interesting. Okay. She said people often associate a dog wagging their tail with happiness, but she says that's not always the case. There's a range of emotions that a dog can be expressing when wagging their tail. They might be excited or curious, even sometimes nervous or aggressive. Do dogs wag their tails when they're happy? She says it depends. If a dog's tail is raised and flopping back and forth quickly, that's generally a positive thing, she says. But if it's just standing straight up, that might indicate impending aggression. Well, like, yeah,
That's not wagging,
right? I feel like there's semantics being played with here.
Camille. Oh my gosh.
If their tail is wagging back and forth, but it's down between their legs rather than raised up, that's more likely to signal nervousness, she said. So if it's wagging just behind them, it'd be like a twitch, I guess. At that point.
I feel like that's
I don't know
not
if we
tail
would
wagging.
define that as wagging, right?
If a dog has their tail between its legs, if it's moving or not, I don't think of that as tail wagging.
She said tail wags are kind of hard to read. There is some recent research. There's research, Daniel. Someone's getting paid to research this. I can't.
I'm real annoyed with Camille right now.
Well, she doesn't care. She's getting paid to study
Lord.
tail wagging.
Help my heart, Lord.
There is recent research, she says, suggesting that the different hemispheres of the doggy brain may influence which direction the tail is wagging in. Wait a minute. Isn't wagging by definition like a pendulum? What direction? How do I know what direction it's going? Is it the first wag? Do I have to pay attention to the first wag? Or is it like every seventh wag?
Have you ever seen a dog wag their tail up and down?
No, I don't think I've ever seen that. But I'm very confused on which direction the tail is wagging, because by definition, wagging means it's going back and forth. So how do I know what direction it's going in, Dr. Camille? I don't. She says, when the tail's wagging to the right.
What do you mean?
Like it goes back and forth. I don't understand. When the tail is wagging to the right, these scientists believe that it's positive. Whereas if it's wagging to the left, it's negative.
Okay, so maybe it's like happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad.
I love you. I hate you. I love you. I hate you. I love you. I hate you. That's what your dog is saying? I'm really confused on the whole definition of tail wagging.
That's
here.
so ridiculous.
Like, granted, I've met humans like that.
What's ridiculous to me is that people can spend their time talking about junk like this and make money.
Listen, the hilarious
Learning about stuff like this.
The hilarious part about this is that's the entire article. It ends on that. That's all they had to say. Whereas if it was going to the left, it was positive, right, negative. Or, yeah.
Just
wagging
tell
to
me
the
her
right.
job isn't government funded.
No, left is negative, right is positive.
Just, it doesn't matter because it's going to change in a millisecond. Just tell me her job is not government funded, please.
It's unclear, but yeah, I'm sure that I've offended animal-loving scientists everywhere, probably by something I said. So
I'm not crossing my fingers when I say, please accept our apologies.
So this Dr. Camille, she's like, she could be a vet, but that's clearly not what she does. She's like a animal scientist. So her job is like she studies dog tail wagging, apparently. And like I said something, I said, well, I don't want to my heart was, I don't want to offend anybody that like that's their job. But can I just break this down? Can we be honest for a second?
Yes.
What is this thing where I have to ascribe honor to every occupation? Listen, I speak into a microphone every day, and even though that's just like a small portion of my job, most people would say that's my job if they didn't have any idea what my day was like.
Right.
And you don't need to ascribe any honor to that.
Yeah.
Seriously, a dog could sit here in front of the microphone and bark into it. And some days I'm not putting
It would probably be wagging its tail to the right if it did.
Some days I'm not putting anything more of substance into it than a dog would. I will admit that. It's some days it feels pretty empty. But honestly, I don't feel the need for anyone to be like, oh, your job's so important. How dare I would never diminish your job. Like, why? Why can't we just be honest? Like, it's just the way we make money to put food on our tables. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like some people we do this a lot with certain careers. And, you know, I'll just say it. There are certain careers we feel like we have to build up. Like teachers come to mind, nurses, EMTs, first responders. And that's great. They all provide this wonderful service for us. But then it's like, if you don't attach the necessary honor to them, you get attacked.
Yeah.
And it's just like, listen, at heart, we need these people, but also their jobs. Their jobs. And if you love your job, that's great. That's wonderful. But at the same time, they're jobs. It's a means for you to put food on your table. And so this whole thing talking about Dr. Camille is like, she doesn't have to defend her job, but we don't, you know, but also we don't have to fight for someone to respect it, like attach honor to it either. It's a job.
Yeah.
Her job is studying dog tail wagging. Whatever. My job is talking into a microphone. Badly, I might add. But it's just a job. It's just what it is. And, you know, I should say you should believe in your job, that you should have passion for it, right?
That's the idea.
Yeah, you
we
should
would hope
you
that
should
you would have that.
Understand and have an importance attached to it from your own point of view that helps with when you're doing your job. But I think we sometimes fall into this category of, no, everyone has to recognize the important work that I'm doing. You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just kind of a weird thing we do.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Sorry, I ranted there a little bit.
No, I think you have a point. Like, and obviously there are professions that require people to sacrifice things for the good of the community. And that deserves some respect.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like, definitely. But they're all just jobs. Like,
yeah, I want to be really clear. I mentioned a few specifically, and I'm not saying that I don't respect them.
oh yeah.
I'm wondering aloud why I have to attach all the extra honor to it. And almost like society wants you to do that, when I'm just like, okay, but it's not like it's like somewhere along the line, we got fooled into thinking that if you're not honoring me, you're disrespecting me.
I don't know if I should say this or not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Like,
because I didn't want this segment to be about this.
I think that we oftentimes, we want to ascribe importance to certain careers and not to others, when sometimes there are other careers that make way for the more well-respected careers to even happen, you know, and we forget about the quote unquote little people or whatever, but we're all just doing a job. Like, we're all just doing a job and trying to earn some money to support ourselves and our families. And
and to be really clear, I'll say it again. I did mention like specific occupations, like that society and culture seems to want us to like have this extra honor for.
Mm-hmm.
And like things like I said teachers. That doesn't mean I disrespect teachers. No. In fact, from my individual self, there are teachers that made a huge impact on my life.
Yeah.
And I pay respect to that. I've been to the hospital. Yeah. There's been nurses who have calmed me, took care of me. Uh-huh. Like, no, I respect your job and thing. I'm just like, we have this thing in our culture where we like need fake. It's almost like fake false affirmation almost. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you know, putting it on our social media or something somehow makes it real, which it isn't. It never is.
Yeah.
It's like what you need, the only affirmation needs to come from the people who are in relationship with you. That's where your affirmation needs to come from, not from people you don't know on the internet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
good.
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's good.
And no offense intended to Dr. Camille, who's doing important work in the realm of dog tail wagging. Dave, by making a joke at the end of it, aren't you just doing what you said you weren't going to do?
I wonder if Dr. Camille would email you if she heard this.
I'd love to have Dr. Camille on the show.
Dr. Camille, if you are listening, please reach out, contact us. We'd love to have you on the air.
Also, since we're talking about dogs, you should know that I know why cats wag their tail. And what they're saying,
It's because they hate you.
what they're saying is if I was big enough, I would totally kill you. That's what cats are saying. Hey everybody, Dave here. What you have just listened to are bits and pieces of our radio show. We have a radio show on KFEX Firescape Radio located in Chanute, Kansas. You can hear that show from noon to 4 every weekday. So if you want to tune into that, you can go to www.kfex931.com, or you can search KFEX in your app store on your smartphone and find their totally free app there. If you're a fan of Christian music, you might like to listen to our live show when you're at work, or if you're a stay-at-home mom and you like music in the house, you may love to listen to that during the day. So give it a try. We would also direct you to our podcast, Pop Culture Pastor. That's probably why you're listening anyways to this version of what we do. As always, subscribe to the podcast, follow us on our social medias on Facebook and Twitter. It helps us out when you share it, when you review and rate us on our podcast homes. And of course, follow us on social media and share our stuff there. So thank you so much for listening. We love all of you guys so much. We have such a great community of listeners, and we'll see you when the regular pod drops on Friday.